Separating the real.
Feel my pain and feel the pressure. You walk in my shoes. All these L's come with depression. All I did was lose. And I was sleeping on myself. I kept on hitting snooze. I spent my life locked up in cages, wearing prison blues. No one came to help. I stood alone on my own too.
All right.
And I was cool with everybody.
All right, so me and Steven go back. We grew up together. I guess we went to the same elementary school. I don't really remember too much from that part of my life, but I do remember in middle school in Laurel Nokomis, we were in classes and stuff, but you know, I was in trouble a lot. I'm sure he was in trouble a lot, knowing him as we got older. Like in high school, I saw him in high school. I saw him at the parties. He ran with some of the same kids that I ran with, I hung out with. I had gotten sent away to my JIT camp. He informed me that he had gotten sent away to his JIT camp, so that's probably why our paths had split. But then in high school and after high school is when I really got to know him a lot. By that time he had already went to prison. I had been locked up a lot. But when I had gotten out and he had gotten out, I had my own place, so he came to live with me and one of my other roommates, Josh. During that time of our lives, like I said, I got to see who Steven really was at that point. And it doesn't really surprise me, because coming from the places that we came from, there wasn't really a lot to do. So just being young, I guess, and being young men, we really we wanted things out of life, but we didn't want to do it the nice way. We didn't want to do it the hard way. We didn't want to do it the easy way. We wanted to do it. I mean, looking back on everything, I can see that we had bought into the stigma, like the stereotypes of like what it meant, what the world tries to tell us to be, like as a man. They try to tell us to be hard, to be gangster, to take what you want, to not reach for help, and believe in that stuff as kids growing up. We became that stuff. We became just, I guess, hardened, but in all the wrong ways. And Steven, he was one of the craziest dudes I've ever met, but he always had a good heart. That's one thing about him. Like he always had respect. And that's one of the reasons that we lived together, and I appreciate his company. But some of the things we got into, we always partied, we hung out. He was always making money. He sold dope, he sold pills. Like I said, we partied. So we were doing the dope, we were doing the pills, we were popping ecstasy, getting in fights, beating people up, stealing stuff, running from the cops. He always had a pistol on him. I was always, I don't know. I had a girl, so she tried to keep me out of a lot of that. He had his baby mama, but he never really had a girl that was trying to hold him down and keep him out of a lot of stuff. I never really got to meet his family, but I know that, I know his family loved him, I know that. But I also know that he was trying to find his own way, as we all, I feel like we all go through as young men, we're trying to find his own way. And just seeing him now, I can see, I regret going through the things that I've gone through. I know he does too. So I know that all the pain and the sorrow that we caused throughout our whole lives, it's obviously, like I said, we regret it, but it taught us a lot of lessons. It taught us a lot of things that we know now not to do again. We know now that that's not the right way. So now, as we have grown up and became our own real men, now we know. I can't really speak for him, but I know from what I see is I can see him being a better father. I can see him, raising his children in the right way. Like I said, we know certain things that we're not supposed to buy into, and if you don't have that right guidance, if you don't have the people in your life to steer you in the right directions, then you're just gonna go wild. You're gonna go crazy. We were dogs off a leash, you know, with no training. All we did was run around. Like, I relate it to my own recovery. Like, there's two sides of me. Like, there's one side that's 100% evil, and one side that's 100% good, and I live in the middle. I live trying to strive towards the good side now, whereas when I was young, all I did was go straight for the evil every time. You know, Steven did that a lot too. He was an influence in my life then, and he's an influence in my life now. But back then, I saw some of the things that he did. I saw like he made a lot of money doing a lot of bad things. Sold a lot of drugs. You know, was always in like, we always hung out with bad crowds. But Steven just went right for the worst crowds. Like, he went right for the darkest parts of the hood, the evilest spots on the streets, and he thrived in it. But that's how I know, seeing him now, that he can thrive in the light too. If you walk through the dark, and you can make it through some of the things that we've gone through, the light should be easy. I know there's still going to be those temptations and those lures that the devil will try to throw out there towards us. But I believe in my heart, in my mind, in my soul, if he wants this, if we want this, we can achieve it. And we just got to strive for it every day. If I were to have anything to say to him, it's just live in love. Love to me is the key. As long as I have love in my heart, as long as I choose to love and choose not to hate and destroy and to kill things, then I learn to grow. I learn to thrive in this new environment of the light and of the Lord. I know he was saved. I didn't know if he was saved prior to prison, but like I said, he lived with me. I saw him come to my house. You know, the police were knocking on the door. We had all the lights shut off. We were hiding out, you know, trying to avoid him. He's like, crap, man. He's like, I just messed up. He's hiding the gun, getting rid of it, scraping the numbers off. He's like, listen, I messed up. I'm like, what happened? He's like, man, I took off, you know, just crazy stuff. Cooking dope, everything. He was telling me I messed up. The cops are looking for me. He told me he went on a run, hit a few of them. Told me he was going to be going away. I didn't know how bad it was. And then he took off again. Didn't see from him for a while. But God's crazy, man. God's plan. So I ended up getting arrested for something. I heard about him, like when he left my house, he went on the run from the cops again. And it was even worse than the first time. He got into a bad crash. Nobody knew if he was alive or dead. You know, people were saying he died. The cops killed him because, like I said, he hit the police as he was running from them. And like I said, God's plan. I get arrested. I don't even remember what happened. I think I got tased or something. They put me in like the ICU of the jail part. Like when you get tased or something, you got to go in there for like observation for like 24 hours. And Steven was in there in a wheelchair with his leg all wrapped up. And I was like, dang, man, what happened? You're alive? And I woke up and I seen him sitting right next to me. He's like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, what the heck? You're alive? Like, I thank God. Because like I said, I didn't know if he was saved prior to that, but like God had been working in my life since I was a child. Like I steered away from him, but he kept steering me back. And one of those ways was locking me up. So I'm grateful for the experiences, but just seeing him in the bed next to me in the wheelchair, I knew it was all right. Like I said, we didn't know if he was alive or dead, and I thanked God then. And he told me, he's like, man, they're trying to give me 10 years or something like that, 10, 15 years. I think he ended up copping out to 7. And I just remember thinking like, damn, it's gonna be a long time, but I hope it goes by quick. We were young. I don't even remember how old we were, but we were young. And I prayed for him then, just like, God, keep him safe, because I know what that puts us through, not only like physically, but mentally. The mental damage of being in some of these places is scarring you. Like, way more damaging than any kind of physical scars. Like, I can take the physical pain, but the mental anguish of that stuff is sometimes unbearable. But, you know, we lost touch. I kept getting locked. He went to prison. I kept getting locked up. I eventually ended up going to prison. But I knew, you know, it's weird how God speaks to me. God's telling me things. You know, God keeps telling me, like, yo, Steven's about to get out. Steven's about to get out. Steven's about to get out. And then I got out because I knew it had been coming up on that time. And then he got out. And then somebody else was telling me they had seen him. And I was like, okay, knowing from the place that we came from and knowing the path that I'm trying to stay on, of course I'm weary from anybody in my past. Like, I try to steer clear of anybody who's on the same things that we were on when we were younger. So, like I said, I know in his mindset, like, it didn't seem like he was ever gonna change. Like, it had to have been an act of God. Like, that's the only way that Steven was gonna change. Like I said, I prayed for him, and God worked in him. Because once I was able to talk to him and reach out and speak to him, I heard his mind. I seen his spirit. Like, his spirit was there. It wasn't laying dormant somewhere. It was there. It was in him. It was in his voice. It was in his eyes. And I could see it. I could hear it. I could feel it. And it felt good. And, like, I just knew right then and there, like, God had answered one of my prayers. But more importantly, like I said, God had worked in his life. And just seeing that manifest and seeing, like, the man that he's become today, and, like I said, hearing his voice and the spirit in him it's influential. It's motivating. Like I said, he influenced me when I was younger, and he's influencing me now. He's giving me that hope and that drive. Because, like I said, there's still those temptations, there's still those lures from the devil, but it helps. Like, I have people around me now that I can reach out to, but what really gives me the most motivation and the most determination to stay on this track is when I see people that I know and that have come from the same places that I've come from, and that are doing it right. They're doing the right thing now. They're living their life, and they're living in God's power and God's light. That's what really gives me peace. Like they say in recovery, we ask for serenity, but that's when I see other people doing the right thing. That's what gives me serenity, because when I see them doing it, then I have a peace about me, knowing that, okay, I have people that I can lean on now. If I'm feeling weak, I can be like, hey man, you know, I feel like I'm gonna go through something, or, you know, if I need some help in some way, that, you know, I know I feel like they'll be there for me.
Let me ask you, so with this time now, with him being released this time, what do you believe will be his biggest challenges?
Biggest challenges.
Or a challenge, not necessarily challenge.
Biggest challenges. I feel like I try not to speak for other people, but from my point of view, my biggest challenge is the downtime. Like, when nobody's around me, when I'm by myself. So I feel like I feel like that can be a challenge for anybody. If you don't have the right mindset and the determination and, like, solid ground to stand on, like, the devil is gonna come and test your faith. So if you don't have and that's when when you're weakest is when he's gonna attack, and that's when I'm weakest is when I'm by myself. So I mean, I try to surround myself with people that are on the right path, that are doing God's will, that are speaking life into my life, that are showing me the ways to do things. And you know, it's not clear cut. It's not as simple as me telling you how to do it. You know, I can give you a suggestion and I can tell you how I did it. He can tell me how he's done it, but everything is different for everybody, different strokes for different folks. So the biggest struggle I can see is maybe that lure of the money that came with the life that we lived. I know that was a big lure for me, big challenge for me. Some of the old friends, acquaintances, mean, I don't know how his relationship is with, you know, his family or, you know, his kids or his baby mama, but I know some of the places that they stay in to where I try to stay away from certain areas because I know those are triggers for me. So if I go to certain areas and then I start, oh, maybe I can go see this person. Oh, maybe I can go holler at him. And I want to show them how good I'm doing now so that maybe I can motivate them. But at the same time, you're never going to pull somebody up. They'll always pull you down. You just have to stand your ground, stand on your own 2 feet, and show them a way from a distance, and then they'll eventually stand up. But, yeah, I mean, that's all I can really speak on about that, like I said.
No, that's perfect.
God, I thank you for this brief opportunity again to see my dog, and ultimately, Lord, what you're doing in his life. I know it's no coincidence, Christ, and I'm confident in the work that you began and all the need that you can complete into the day of your return. Continue to stir up that fire within him, the need that we would live and hang out for you, Christ, and that you would use us, show Paul a specific gift, his call, his purpose, bless his family, provide for him, continue to use him to empower others, Christ, all for your glory and for the furtherance of the kingdom and authority. Keep it up, bro. I gotta get back.
I'm proud of you, bro.
Appreciate it.
Man, you influence me.